All right, this video is going to look at Content Standard number 8, which is looking at some of the major body systems. You'll need to be familiar with the circulatory system, the respiratory, the excretory, and the reproductive. So I gave you a handout this quarter that goes into some really good detail about the things that you need to know. So I'm just going to briefly go over those just so you can just hear me talk about it and look at a couple of pictures with me while we do this. First, we want to look at the respiratory system. Okay, this is how we breathe, and the reason that we breathe is so that we can bring oxygen into our bloodstream because our cells need oxygen to survive. We also breathe in order to get rid of the carbon dioxide that is the byproduct from our cells. Our cells need the oxygen, and the cells need to get rid of the carbon dioxide. So by breathing, we allow the oxygen to come in to get into our blood, and then when we breathe out, we allow the carbon dioxide to get out of our body. You'll need to be familiar with these particular items, these particular components, organs of the respiratory system. Obviously, you breathe in through your nasal passage or through your mouth. It's going to travel, the air is going to travel down your trachea and get into your lungs, and it's going to get into those branch-like, it looks like tree branches. They're called bronchioles. That's where the air is going to go, and then it's going to go out to these little grape-like sacs called the alveoli. And it's there in the alveoli that the oxygen gets into our bloodstream. Obviously, this is in our lungs, and then we have this big muscle right down here that controls our breathing. Whether you take it over consciously or whether you're asleep and you're not thinking about it at all, your body regulates its own breathing when you're not thinking about it. And the diaphragm, as it expands and contracts, it allows air to come in and out of our lungs. Okay, so you need to be familiar with these particular parts of the respiratory system, and you need to know why it is that we breathe. We breathe to get oxygen into our bloodstream so that it can go to our cells and so that we can get the carbon dioxide out. Okay, we have the circulatory system, and in the circulatory system, this is the blood. So we've gotten the oxygen into our lungs, it's now getting into our blood. Now we need the blood to go out throughout our body and get to the cells so that we can get the oxygen and the other nutrients that travel in the blood to our cells, and then we can get the waste away from our cells and the carbon dioxide to go out and the other waste materials to go where they need to go. Main parts of this, obviously, the heart's going to be your main organ. And then you have your arteries, which carry the blood to your cells with the oxygen, and your veins is how the blood gets back to your heart with the carbon dioxide. So it goes out of your heart with the arteries, with the oxygen-filled blood, and it returns to your heart through your veins with the carbon dioxide-filled blood. These are the main components of the circulatory system that you need to be aware of. Okay? There are some smaller components. The capillaries would be the next step down from the veins. Capillaries are teeny tiny. Okay? The next component that you need to be familiar with, the next system, is the excretory system. Okay? We have our kidneys are the main organs, and this is actually just half of it. We have two kidneys. They look like a kidney bean. That's why they call them a kidney bean, because it looks like our kidneys. Okay, we have our kidneys, which filters all the liquids that we drink and all the liquids that goes through our body. Filters through our kidneys. Our body takes up what it needs. What it doesn't need, it travels down the ureter, this tube, and it goes into your bladder. And then when the bladder gets full, you know it, because you need to go to the bathroom. So this is the excretory system, and it's responsible for regulating the liquid, the fluid in our body. What we need, it takes back in, absorbs back into the body. What we don't need, it filters out, and we get rid of it. Okay? Now, the reproductive system let me just say this about the reproductive system. The only thing that you're going to need to know about the reproductive system is that the reproductive system is responsible for allowing an organism to produce offspring. That's all you got to know. As long as you know that, you're good to go as far as the reproductive system goes. Okay? Now, you'll notice that this content standard does not mention the digestive system. Okay? So in the handout that I gave you, I do have the digestive system listed here. But you, as far as this content standard goes, are not going to be expected to know the digestive system. You should know that that's your stomach and the small intestine and the large intestine. But this is saying specifically that you need to know the circulatory, the respiratory, the excretory, and the reproductive. It does not say the digestive. So you can hold off on focusing too much on that. Okay? Just a quick review of content standard number 8.